Hi everyone and welcome back to another episode of Sideboard Files, second part dedicated to standard Temur Energy here with a great contribution of Joshua Bausch from the Phoenix 404 team. Welcome back.
Thank you very much.
Right. Thank you for being here once again. And thank you for the previous video we did about Temur Energy with this new configuration, the one that you prepared for Grand Prix Warsaw.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent stuff in there. So we did a sideboard tech before, and now we are here for a sideboard guide.
For the good stuff.
For the good stuff. Yeah, the important stuff. What to board in, what to board out, on the play and on the draw for the most relevant matchups in the current standard meta game.
That's true.
So hopefully that's true. I hope for you that's true.
Yeah.
All right, jokes apart. I want to show you I'm going to show the main configuration list first.
Mm-hmm.
Let's have a look at this one, just to mention this one as a reference. This is a list that we're using for reference. This is a list you piloted at the Grand Prix Warsaw.
Yes, that's the list I played. It's got some choices that not everybody's playing for. So, for example, the Sky Sovereign.
Yeah.
Or just one main deck Confiscation Coup. I play in the main deck. And I go for 3 braids and no magma spray at all in my whole 75, like not everyone is doing.
Right, excellent. This is actually all the stuff that we saw in details in the previous video. So for those of you watching at home, if you want to know more about the main deck configuration of Joshua, just have a look at the previous video, watch it. And we go there quite in depth about the single choices and why you went for those choices and how you prepared. And the same goes for the sideboard that we have right here. In the previous video, we discussed everything card by card, the reasoning behind this configuration. And you find all the information you need about this stuff in the previous video. Now we are here for this important stuff, as you said, this sideboard tech. So, all right, let's start with the first matchup we want to talk about. Quite important, the mirror, Temur Energy versus Temur Energy. It's going to happen quite a lot in the big and important events. So the first thing I would like to ask you is, what is your approach? What are your objectives when you play the mirror?
So the person who is on the play always got a little advantage of having the tempo on its side, and the people on the play tries to advance it and get ahead on board because he is the initiator.
Yes.
And the person on the draw tries to get a tempo out of the opponent and tries to stabilize the board and getting ahead on his own.
Okay, so we can somehow put all this together, simplifying it, just saying that if you are on the play, you want to be in the aggressor role.
Yes.
And if you are on the draw, you want to be more in a sort of control role.
Yes, you want to get out the tempo of your opponent. You try to stabilize the board and hope to overcome your opponent with like the same cards as he do.
Yeah. So that's very important actually to know, depending if you are on the play or on the draw, what kind of role you want to assume in the matchup. Okay, excellent stuff. So let's start with the cyber plans. You have different cyber plans on the play and on the draw, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
Okay, let's start with the scenario in which you won game 1, so game 2 you're going to be on the draw. What do you side out and what do you side in?
So when we were on the draw, I bought out the Long Toss Cup.
Okay.
Many people bought him out on the play and on the draw and think that the cup is in the sideboard games not important enough and too slow sometimes because people bought into more Confiscation Coup and stuff that kills everything. But I think if you're would it be on the play, it would be perfect. But we are on the draw, that's why we bought it out. You'd never want to play on the play a Long Toss Cup on the draw because you always have to kill their 2-drop if it's Long Toss Cup or Servant to Conduit, because if it sticks, it gives them too much advantage and tempo, and when they played a 4-drop on turn 3, it's quite brutal for you, and it's very hard to come out of the situations.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So that's why we bought out 4 Long Toss Cup, and I bought out 1 Glorybringer, because we have 5 drops, we want to build in more 5 drops, and Glorybringer, I think, is the weakest of all in the post-board side, post-board games. Glorybringer is one of the best cards in standard right now, but I think in this configuration you want to board one out. I think Consul's Flagship is one consideration as well, but the mirror is quite around some Planeswalkers, and the Skyship deals damage when it's coming into play, so it can't get hit by removal and don't have any effect on the board. And the skyship always have an effect on the board. So I would keep it in and bought out one Glorybringer.
Yeah, sure. Okay, what comes in?
So for the mirror, we have the Vizier of the Many Faces. It's good against the Bristling Hydra because if they have one, you play your own, you have a Bristling Hydra on your own, and it makes card advantage and is always the best creature on the battlefield. So I bought in both of them. I bought in the Confiscation Coup because dealing Glorybringer is great. Sometimes if you have enough energy, stealing Whirl Virtuoso is game winning, and stealing a very, very big cup they can't kill on their own anymore can win games as well. And then there is Nissa, Steward of Elements. It's fit perfect in the curve. You just play it when you have a hole in your curve, and if it sticks, it wins the games on its own. And yeah, it's a Planeswalker, as I mentioned. Everything plays around Planeswalker after sideboarding, and she's amazing, I would say.
Okay.
And then because we play the mirror, and as I mentioned, Glorybringer is one of the best cards in Standard right now. You have to kill it, and you bring in one Chandra's Defeat because it's the best answer for it. 1 mana for 5 mana.
Sure.
It's like getting a huge tempo advantage.
So you expect the same move from the other side?
Yes, I expect the same move from the other side.
Okay.
And so that's why I take on one Glorybringer, because it's get hit by the Chandra's Defeat. And if I have less targets, it's
better for you.
It's most unlikely to get hit by the removal on the right spot.
Mm-hmm. Okay, very good. So different scenario. You're going to be on the play because you lost game 1.
Because
happens.
happens. I hope not most of the time, but yeah, happens.
What do we have here then? What goes out and what goes in when you're on the play?
So, because I'm on the play this time, I keep in the cups, as I mentioned. I want to be the initiator of the tempo game, and if I played cup turn 2, I would definitely get ahead on tempo, and a cup unanswered on turn 2 can win the game by its own.
Yeah.
And that's why I would take out 3 Abrades, because I don't have to answer a turn 2 cup anymore. My opponent will be the guy who tries to kill my cup on turn 2.
Sure. He's going to be in the control role.
Yes, he got to be in the control role. And I would take out 2 Whirl Virtuoso instead of the Glorybringer. And I did take out when I won the draw, because now I have more mana, or I get ahead on mana. And if I play the Glorybringer on turn 5, or even on turn 4 with a Servant of the Conduit, they don't have enough space to slip in some removal spells. And if they do, you can play around it because you have the tempo advantage, and you are the guy who is pressing further and further ahead.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And what comes in stays exactly the same.
What comes in stays exactly the same.
Okay. Yeah. The role of these cards we discussed already. So
yes, they have 1 mana removal spell for Glorybringer is still amazing. Kills Whirl Virtuoso as well. And this is a card who stabilizes sometimes the board, or gives enough time that the person can stabilize. Vizier of Many Faces. Still, if you can copy your own Rock Refiners, your own Hydras, and it still makes tempo. Nisser on the play. If you play turn 3, if you don't play a 2-drop, just have a removal on its own, and they don't play a 2-drop as well, and you play turn 3 Nissa, and they can't answer right away. You just plus, maybe minus the next turn, and then get ahead on cards, and you
build your advantage from there.
Yes, you build the advantage from there. Yeah, and Confiscation Coup, as I mentioned, stealing the best creature from your opponent is the best thing you can do, I think.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's go straight to the next matchup pattern we have here. 4-color Energy.
Yes. It's like plays kind of similar, like the Temur Energy.
And your objectives are the same?
But they are the same.
Okay, so assuming the control role if you are on the draw, and assuming the aggressor role if you are on the play.
Yes. The only difference between the normal Temur is they have this one card that's kind of insane in Standard right now.
Sure,
it's a Scarab God.
Yeah, okay.
It's like a creature that's winnings on its own, and has the advantage to sweep around games when it's unanswered. So we have to prepare for that. And
okay, so another objective is having answers for the Scarab God. Okay. All right, so cyber plans. You have different cyber plans on the play on the draw for this one as well?
Yes.
Okay, let's go for the on the draw scenario. What do you side out or what do you side in?
So as I mentioned, you want to answer their 2 drops when you're on the draw, so that's why you take out your long toss cups again.
Yeah.
And in this matchup, I take out the 4th Glory Bringer again out, because they will have the Chandra's Defeat again, and you're on the draw. I want more 5 drops.
Okay.
Even in this matchup, you want a 6 drop. You want to board in 1 River's Rebuke, because sometimes the Scarab gets out of hand, and you want to reset the board.
Mm-hmm.
Including that, you want to board in again the Viziers, because it's a great card advantage card. They play Hydras again, and so on, as I mentioned in the normal mirror as well. A Confiscation Coup for even the Scarab God now, so you got the best creature in standard to steal against them, and the Nissa Steward of Elements again. These are the 5 cards you bought in.
Okay.
And bought out the long toss cups again.
Sure. So we are talking about a plan that is similar but not exactly the same, because you
Yes.
have something different. You have to answer to the Scarab God as well.
Mm-hmm. That's why you don't board in Chandra's Defeat. They are normally don't have that many red creature cards or Chandras.
Mm-hmm.
It exists versions where they play, like the guy who won GP Warsaw, he played 2 Chandras, 4 Glory Ringers, and 2 Scarab Gods. It's a little hard on the mana, I would say, but then you have to adapt like this. If you see Glory Bringers on side, you can adapt it and board in more Chandra's Defeat.
Mm-hmm. Okay, perfect. So what happens when you're on the play?
So when I'm on the play, I have the same strategy of boarding out the Braids and the Whirler Virtuoso again.
Yes.
And board in the 5 cards I mentioned.
But what you board in stay the same?
Yes, it's the same. As I mentioned, if you see Glory Bringers, you adapt with Chandra's Defeat and board something else.
Sure.
What you're thinking is right. But if I don't see anything, I think that's the sideboard plan I would go.
You want to go for?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Very straightforward plan.
Mm-hmm.
So we can just jump to the next matchup.
Yes.
And now we have another energy deck, but Sultai Energy.
Yes.
Okay, so again, what are your objectives in Game 2 and Game 3 when you face this deck?
When I'm on the play, I will be the aggressor again. Try to get ahead on board, stay ahead on board, push my advantage forward.
Okay.
And when I'm on the play, I will try to be the
When you're on the draw, you want to be in the control room.
Yes, when I will be on the draw, I will be in the control road again. And,
okay, so that doesn't change.
Yes,
Sultai or Temur, that doesn't change.
Doesn't matter. There are just different cards. Different cards you have to play around.
Okay.
And then if you know what they're in the deck, you know what to expect. And
sure.
I think they're more problematic if they're on the play, because they can push their advantage really, really fast because of Winding Constrictor.
Sure.
It's can get out of hand at some point, but you can adapt to that and you can play around that. And
okay, so you have to be aware of a Winding Constrictor and the ability and the fact that they can accumulate energy very fast.
Yes, very fast and very fast. Many more counters than you do.
Okay. Any other additional objectives you want to mention?
Yes, the card that you really, really have to play around, and it's very hard to play around, is Blossom Defense.
Okay.
So that's one of the cards that's, I think, pushed the deck in the front row of the Pro Tour, because it can blow out many people. For example, if you want to Confiscation Coup any of their creatures, and they play Blossom Defense on the creature you would like to steal, and blows you out. I think at that point you lost the game, because trading 5 mana and your whole turn for just 1 mana trick, and he played probably like 2 creatures, because it's an all 2-drop creature deck with 12 really, really good creatures you want to kill on site. And you have to adapt to that.
It punishes very hard, so it's hard to come back from that.
Yeah, and snowballs then right away.
Okay, very good. So let's go in depth with the cyber plans. On the play, on the draw, we have differences here as well, I believe.
Yes.
So let's start on the draw. What do you side out and what do you side in?
As mentioned in the normal energy matchups, it's you bought out the Long Toss Cup.
Yeah.
And for this matchup, you bought out the Confiscation Coup. As I mentioned, if you Confiscation Coup a Long Toss Cup or a Winding Constrictor or Scarab God and he's Blossom Defensing, you're probably lost the game. So you don't want to risk it. There are scenarios where Confiscation Coup still gets the creature and is very, very good, but I would never take the risk of getting that blowout.
Okay. So what do you side in?
So we take in the cards we did in the Temur as well, like the Vizier and the Nissa.
Yeah.
As I mentioned before, they're the card advantage and pushing you forward. But this time we will not generous defeat because there are no red cards, no confiscation coup, as I mentioned, can blow you out. We bought in the River's Rebuke.
Okay.
Because that's a card that can reset the board at a certain level. You need an answer if they go out of hand with the Scarab God. And if you play River's Rebuke, then they lose all their tempo. The tokens that are produced with the Scarab God just vanish. And you can stabilize or even win the game with the card if you have enough power on the battlefield.
Sure.
So you take in both of your River's Rebuke out of the sideboard.
Extremely effective reset
spell
here.
It's like earlier when you played Baral's Expertise against the black-green snake decks. If they try to kill you and your Baral Expertise get ahead on tempo, bounce their whole board or 3 of their creatures, and then you stay ahead and you most of the time won the game with casting the spell.
Okay,
so
crystal clear.
Plays like the same.
Okay, very good. So different scenario around the play. There's a little change here. What's going on?
So this time we take out 3 Vola Virtuoso because I don't think they are very good on the play. They don't match very well. It's good against their Clint Sleeve Siphoner, but this is the card that hurts you the most if Scarab God reanimates it. So you take out 3 of them. I would take off Ramunap Red, not all of my removal, because all of their 2-drops you have to really kill, and you can't go that low on removal, I think. And as I mentioned, the confiscation coup, because the blowout factor is just too high, and that's it of what I'm taking out.
And the cards that are sided in are still the same.
Still the same. Yes, the 2 River's Rebuke, the 2 Vizier of the many faces, and the Nissa. So these cards are proven to be perfect so far.
Yeah, excellent. Well, considering your 14th place at GP Warsaw, I think your cyber plans are pretty solid.
Yeah, I beat all the energy decks I faced. I just lost against one Ramunap Red deck and 2 Godforrow's gift decks. So
okay, very good. So the stats are on your favor.
Yes, against the energies, of course.
All right, excellent. So abandoning the energy universe and going towards other type of matchups. Here we go with Ramunap Red. And here, is this an easy matchup? Is this a tough matchup? How do you see that?
So before Amonkhet came in, we never lost a match against Mono Red.
You mean you and Phoenix 4-4 team?
Christian Haug and Marius Heuser and all the guys Frankfurt were test with, and even of some Phoenix 4-4 members I played with before. We never lost a match. We were like, okay, Mono Red is really tough, but before Ixalan came out, we never lost a match. Maybe it happens that you lose one match against them.
Sure,
because
just for variance, statistical variance.
But we had a really, really good record against Mono Red.
Okay.
It all changes with Ixalan.
Okay.
They got additional tools like the Pharaoh, Rampaging Pharaoh.
Yeah.
That's a new dinosaur, and it changes the complete state of the matchup, because now they have a threat that's good against the card that's winning the matchup on its own, and it's the Vola Virtuoso. So for the Pro Tour, we didn't think it changed it that much. We were still confident, and I think you're still slightly favored in the matchup. But if they have many Pharosedon, it can change it. It costs you many life, and they have still these reach lands and Hazard the Fervent who still can just shoot a card from your hand.
Sure.
At your life points. So after the PT, we adapted with some new changes, and I would like to come that.
Sure. We talk about it when you go in depth with the cyber plans. Now I would ask you, generally speaking, what are your objectives in Game 2 when you face Ramunap Red?
So you have to stabilize as fast as possible.
Okay.
And then go into a race, because you have no life gain in the deck, and there have reach cards like Lightning Strike, Shock, Ramunap Ruins, or Hazard the Fervent. You are still on a clock, even if they have no board at all, because they can just top deck their guys.
Sure.
And have many hasty, almost everything in their deck has haste or evasion, and you try to kill them as fast as possible after you stabilize the games. So
Okay, very good.
yeah,
So, on the plane, on the draw, do you have the same plans or the
yeah,
differences?
they're the same.
Oh, same
They're the
plan.
same.
Okay, this one is very straightforward.
Yeah, on the
Very
play,
good.
being on a play is always preferable, but
But you don't want to lose game one because you want to be on the play on game two, I guess, anyway.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you have to be on the draw at least once.
yes.
Anyway, so what do you board out and what do you board in?
What you bought out is the 2 Chandra, Torch of Defiance, because the Planeswalker is really slow and not really sticks on the battlefield.
Mm-hmm.
Then we bought out 2 Glorybringer, because many 5-drops is not so good, and you want a Confiscation Coup for the Hazoret. And we think that the Sky Sovereign kills on-site the problem creatures like Rampaging Ferocodon, and is a faster clock than even the Glorybringer while killing creatures. And then we take our 2 Rook Refiners. Not many people do that, taking a Rook Refiner, because I think you play it, draws a card, but this card is not a very good blocker. So
Yeah,
you play
2 toughness.
two
It's not
toughness, it just draws you a card, but it will always trade against every creature your opponent has. So it not really stabilized the board, it's just generating card advantage. But this matchup is not about getting card advantage, it's about stabilizing it and racing your opponent.
Yeah, that's very important to keep in mind. Your objectives and then boarding in and out accordingly.
Yes, and that's why we take out 2 Rook Refiner.
Okay, and what comes in?
So we take in the best red removal, turn us defeat 2 of them.
Yes, sure.
We take in the second Confiscation Coup, because stealing Hazoret is the perfect scenario for you, or even stealing one Rampaging Ferocodon that really clocks your opponent as well.
Game breaking.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then we have this little elephant that's like, for us, was getting us back into the positive rate of the matchup, and 3/4 blocks really well, blocks everything out of the matchup. It's you can double spell on turn 3 again for playing a 2-drop, play this card, or remove a spell and discard. All the removal spells deal 3 damage or 2 damage, so they can't really kill it, except for their Chandra that can minus, but then the Queenbird did already his damage, and if they need to kill a Queenbird Rampager with their Chandra, then you're probably in really good shape, except you're behind on the board. But yeah, he makes up for that, and this card is
a great discovery, I would say.
A great.
Yeah.
I always think of, can I play the Queenbird Rampager again? And are the Acro decks really pushing forward again? And then it's his time to shine. And right now, for this matchup, yeah, he shines pretty bright.
Absolutely. I mean, the stats are 3 power, 4 toughness for just 1 mana.
Yes.
We're talking about something very effective. And as you say, he can leaves you resources for doing other stuff in the same turn.
Yeah.
So you can really maximize your mana and get a lot of things going on at the same turn, whilst slamming onto the battlefield this quite more than decent creature and blocker.
Yes.
So yeah, makes absolutely perfect sense.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So next we have blue-white approach, the combo deck of the format at the moment.
Oh, the combo control deck.
Combo
probably.
control, yeah, combo control.
Yeah.
Quite controlish. So here as well, the same question: what are your objectives when you face this deck, blue-white approach, in game 2, post-sideboard game 2 and 3?
Game 2, you probably can assume that you lost game 1 because it's always against approach. You lose the game 1.
Okay.
And your objectives in game 2 are try to get as aggressive as possible.
Sure.
And you need to play around all against the mass removal. They have 2 different types of mass removal. One is the Fumigate, that's a 5 mana, destroy all creatures and he gains life. And the other one is Settle the Wreckage. It's a 4 mana card, instant. It makes like half to exile on all attacking creatures. So this card is quite tricky to play around, but you have always to keep in mind that he can have this, and the combination of both of them can give you a hard time because you can't attack with all creatures, but you still have to getting as low as possible while not tapping out for Fumigate, because if you tap out, he will just swipe the board. So your objectives are try to kill as fast as possible and keep that cards in mind.
Sure. Respect those cards, playing around, settle the wreckage, and fumigate. And you have to read the signals coming from your opponent probably to understand. Yeah. If they have one of those, and if you think they have settled the wreckage, somehow you have to force them to use it, but not to commit everything you have
Yes,
on,
it's like
on
attacking
the
with one,
board.
even attacking just with one creature, intersect the wreckage. Sometimes they have to use this because next turn, if you then have the negate or something like this, you win the game. But you have to read your opponent. I think it's in this matchup, you have to read most of the body language that your opponent is telling you, and then you can get rewarded.
Okay, excellent stuff. Let's go in depth with the cyber plans. On the plane on the draw, you have the same cyber plans.
Yes, that's the same plan.
Very good. So what do you board out and what do you board in?
So what we bought out, because they are a creature-less control-ish deck, maybe they bought in some Torrential Gearhacks, but it's not a card you want to kill with your removal. You bought out 3 Abrade, 4 Harness Lightning, and 1 Confiscation Coup. That's all your targeting removal, you could say. And that's it, what you bought out. And for that, you bought in 3 Negate, because, as I mentioned, you need to play around the mass removal. You bought in 1 Appetite for the Unnatural, because they have Cast Out, and that's the 1 removal that could kill a Gearhulk. So getting an instant speed threat out of your Cast Out, or killing their creature they want to play to block is nice in a combination of 1 card. You bought in the Greenbelt Rampagers because it's a flexible card and a cheap threat, 3 power for 1 mana, and you can play it backing up with Negate. You can advance your board quite far. And you bought in 1 Nissa, Steward of Elements, because she can push getting cards into play for free, plays around counter spells, and he ultimate deals 10 damage after she fumigates. He tapped out, or he casted his Approach of the Second Sun. You can just ultimate her and hit him for 10. It sometimes gets the job done.
Sure. It helps a lot.
It helps a lot. 10 damage, quite of no rares, quite good, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, perfect. So let's go for the next matchup. We have a blue-white God Pharaoh's Gift.
Yes, that's the deck that's kind of new. Out of the Pro Tour, it got 2nd place, piloted by Pascal Maynard.
So now it's quite common. Well,
no, it's quite common. It were there before Ixalan came out. People played the deck in a combo version with Refurbish, like they do now.
Yeah.
But it fell out of sight of everyone because everyone played the blue, black, or the Esper Godfather's Gift deck with the artifacts. With the artifacts, you can search for the Godfather's Gift.
Yeah. The gate to the afterlife.
The gate to the afterlife. And now they are back to the combo version with Refurbish because it's faster, and so
is it more consistent because of this change?
I wouldn't say it's more consistent because you have to hit the Godfather's Gift in the graveyard and then need to refurbish. It sometimes takes a bit longer to assemble, but it can also be the most explosive one because on turn 4 in the play, if you get it out, you can build quite an advantage. So I would say it's a mix of explosiveness and not so consistent, I would say. But it makes up for all the card drawing spells and card selection spells they have in their deck.
Okay, so what are your objectives when you face this deck? Game 2 post side.
At GP Warsaw, we wasn't really sure. I lost 2 times to this deck and probably did many mistakes in boarding against them. But my objective were always pressure your opponent because you have the perfect answer for their Godfather's Gift in your deck, and it's a Braid. It's a 2-mana removal spell, and it gets a huge tempo advantage as they go for the combo. But you also have to watch out for the removal spells. They have Cast Out in their deck, and they have Fumigates after sideboard. Sometimes even Settle the Wreckage, depends on...
So mixture between spot removal and mass removal there.
After sideboard, their objective will be more creature-based oriented, with the 1/3 dwarf that exiles your creature, and more angels, different angels, hard casting, and getting adventure like on this way, and not only on the Godfather's Gift. That's why you need to pressure them as hard as possible, play around the removal, and get the right spots to resolve your biggest threats like Glorybringer and swing for a big amount of damage without getting swept.
Okay, very good. Cyber plans in depth on the play on the draw. Do we have the same?
That's the same.
Okay, very good. So then what you board out and what you board in?
So what I bought out is Whirl of Virtuoso. because it doesn't match very well against their creatures they play after sideboard. I bought out Bristling Hydra because it was never a good card in the God First Gift because they have so many little creatures. They have Sacred Cats and stuff like this in their deck. So there's like 4 mana for getting jump block twice for their 2 mana rate. It's not very good. You bought out 2 Glory Bringers because it's a big mana spell and you need to hold up Negate many times or Abrade at all times to play around their combo. And I bought out Confiscation Coup. At first, I thought Confiscation Coup would be very good stealing their God Forest Gift. Sometimes it's too slow because they already did their damage and still then sometimes it's not good enough. And then I thought, I can still steal their creatures, but they have this 1/3 draw of the Fairground Warden that can steal their creature back, and then it just was for nothing.
Okay. So an investment.
So the investment wasn't enough.
Okay.
And because they are going for the more creature-based orientation, it's better to have more removal than stealing their cards, I would say.
Okay.
What I would board in is 2 Rivers Rebuke, because they're still trying to be a combo deck. And if they reanimate an Angel with their God Forest Gift, they're having 6/6 Angel Lifelink Vigilance.
Which is very tough. It beats very hard.
It beats very hard, and it's really tough to beat. So resetting with Reverse Rebuke, sometimes the game state, or as I mentioned, winning the game with it at some point if you have enough creatures and they just have jump blockers, then you have enough damage. You bought in Greenwood Rampage, as I mentioned before. There is it fits perfect in some curves, can protect it by a negate, and 3 power is very good against most of the creatures like the Fairgrounds Warden that attacks through them. I take the Nissa in because again it's dealing damage, getting you further ahead, giving cards for free. The negates, as I mentioned, for the mass removal and for the combo part, and 1 Appetite for the unnatural because they have, as I mentioned, Cast Out and the God Forest Gift that can kill.
Sure. You have a couple of targets there that are crucial. 1 for the game plan and 1 to remove your creatures, your threats, so you can get your threats back. Or you can just hinder their combo.
Right now, I would board like this. When you look at the deck right now, you could think that you maybe are a little bit threat light and need more creatures. Then you can adapt with 1 less negate and you don't need the Appetite then. But this plan, as I mentioned, I would go for it right now.
Yeah.
Maybe explore it further for the next one.
Yeah, sure. You can always improve, but this is the plan you're confident with right now.
That's the plan I would board in next time. I experimented on the GP boarding out Harnessed Lightning and keeping it in and having boarded in Confiscation Coup, but that never worked out. I came in a situation on the game 3, if my Confiscation Coup would the Harnessed Lightning I bought it out, I probably would have won the game. So I think the removal is better in this matchup than the Confiscation Coup.
Okay, very well. We've just reached the last matchup that we have for this episode, this quite rich and extensive sideboard guide. Blue-black God Pharaoh's Gift.
Yes.
So here, the deck works slightly different. What's going on there?
This deck is more creature-based, creatures that are disrupting and have the Scarab Gods, because blue-black and the Scarab God is free, having many creatures is perfect for them. But also they are then restricted to having the Gate to the Afterlife, who you sometimes see coming slower than the refurbish stuff, and beating creatures is easier than having to play around sweepers like you do in the white version.
So we can say that you're actually probably a little bit favored when you face this matchup rather than the other matchup.
This matchup should be better for the God Forest Gift side, but I think Temur is so strong, and the only card in this deck what I'm scared for is the Scarab God, and you still have the tools to beat it. So
sure.
If you play around the right card, the God and the combo finish, then you can press your advantage quite far. And they don't have a sweeper. You can play your creature. You can tap out easily. except for when they can make their combo with the get to the afterlife. But you see it coming because there's creatures in the graveyard they need, and if they don't have enough creatures in the graveyard, then you can just easier play it. Your creatures tap out, and yeah.
Okay, so if we speak about the objectives, then one of the objectives is surely going to be having answers to the Scarab God.
Yes, having answers to the Scarab God and pushing your advantage, trying to beat them down as fast as possible.
Sure. You want to race them,
Yes.
you want to be really fast.
Yes.
So be the aggressor, close the game as fast as possible,
Yes.
and as well having answers to the Scarab God is the other thing you want to do. Very good. Cyber plans in depth. On the play on the draw, we have the same cyber plans here as
Yes,
well.
that's the same play plans.
So, yeah, what goes out and what goes in.
So while you don't have to adapt to mass removal, you don't take out that much. You just take out the Bristling Hydra. As I mentioned before, they have jump blockers. They use their Minister to mill their cards, and then it's just a 1/2 body that's lying around, or the Champion of the Wits that just want to get to blocking, because then he can get back out of the graveyard, draws more cards. So you don't want to play your 4-mana spell that does basically nothing except getting jump blocked, and that's why you bought out 3 Bristling Hydra. And I bought out 1 Whirler Virtuoso because it's a card that's the Scarab God wants to reanimate the most and gets the most board stalling in, and that's why you bought 1 out. What I bought in is the Reverse Rebuke again, because as I mentioned, the Scarab God can get out of hand, their combo can get out of hand, and with this you can just reset the board or even win with it if you have enough power on the board. So that's a perfect answer for their combo strategies. Then again, the Nissa, it's like pushing the advantage again, getting cards for free in. And in this matchup, you want your Confiscation Coup again, because they have Scarab God. You can steal their creatures, they can't do anything about it. And getting
Game-breaking move.
Game-breaking move,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, excellent. So I think we covered it all the matchups we wanted to talk
Yes.
about. Very good. A lot of excellent stuff. Thank you very much for sharing.
No problem.
All right, very good. So again, thank you very much, Joshua, for taking your time and being here with us, with me. And a big thank you to all of you who've been watching this video. I hope you enjoyed, because we surely did making it. And of course, if you want to let us know your thoughts in the comment section here on YouTube. If you want to reach us on Twitter and Facebook, facebook.com/HEDRON.TV, twitter.com/HEDRON.TV. And last but not least, stay tuned on HEDRON.TV for more content to come. For now, it's goodbye.
Goodbye.